Welcome to Art Street. I'm Meredith Port, and we are in the heart of Little Havana, where an extraordinary collection of Cuban art and literary treasures resides. You are about to meet the man behind Cuba Ocho.
In the heart of Little Havana, just across the street from Domino Park, lies a hidden jewel of Cuban art. Cuba Ocho is a cultural and research center that houses treasures in history rescued and preserved by collector Roberto Ramos.
We have focused our efforts in the investigation of the history of Cuban painting from 1800 until 1958 because the Cuban government in 1959 tried to erase all that history. It has attempted, during over 50 years, to make sure no history book will be saved. For that reason, we undertook this task.
A huge task he started in Cuba when he was just 17 years old, when a man gave him a painting called The Saxophonist from Carlos Sobrino, a supposed very famous artist. He tried to sell it, but no one recognized the artist.
And after a while, in my research I found that this artist was indeed famous, but he had to leave the country. When he left, the government erased all his history. His name was never again included in any book. His work was taken from the museum, and Carlos Sobrino ceased to exist. This investigation encouraged me to keep researching other artists who have also been erased. I've devoted myself to recovering my country's history.
In 1992, his first collection of 14 paintings crossed the Florida Straits, hidden in the Rosita II, an old small wooden boat in which Roberto and others fled Cuba to fulfill their dreams of liberty. They were left to drift with nothing to brave the elements until the U.S. Coast Guard rescued them.
When he arrived here, he was very thankful because for the first time there was the rights given to him. You know, they were going to take him to immigration prison, but they gave them his rights for the first time. That was one of the best things he ever had. The second one, he arrived to the land of freedom, and the third one, they saved his life.
When I arrived at the United States in 1992, I tried to recover the old books to save the history. But it was difficult because the books were not available here and I had to ask people to buy the books in Cuba. The friends I had in Cuba went around looking for books and sending them. That is how I've been collecting books, newspapers, and magazines for the last 20 years.
It means it's an art and institute research place where you can do research. If you need to do a paper on some particular painter, you can come over here and I guarantee you that he will have it because he's been here, I think, since 1992. All he's been doing is collecting all kind of documents. So he's pretty much in tune with the history of the Cuban art, especially the academia.
The historical development of Cuban paintings between 1850 and 1950 has been documented in the book Great Masters of Cuban Art, featuring 62 artists and catalogs exhibits from the Ramos collection. This art book speaks about Cuba's diverse society and culture by illustrating personas, magical landscapes, musical scene, religious practices, and rural and urban realities.
The Ramos collection is now at the Daytona Beach Museum. It has been a dream come true. It was always my goal for all these important works to be in a museum, and I am very happy because it's the first time that a collection of Cuban paintings is touring museums all across the USA.
The contents of Cuba Ocho, including over 600 paintings and exhibits, all have a story to tell. Even the furniture, which was obtained from a private club in Miami Beach, once owned by Frank Sinatra.
I went there to make a film, and they told me that the place was abandoned, and the last company that was supposed to throw away the garbage asked for $28,000 to do it. I told them I would do it for free, and I took all that old wood, restored it, and transformed it into furniture. I had wheels and converted them into tables. The furniture here is all from that place after restoration.
So it's the feeling of antique, you know. For some people, it looked like Havana 1950s. So the bookshelf was made with that. The cover of the wall was made from that stage of wood. And the tables, people get incredible amazed because they were part of a lamp.
Jazz used to be only in Miami Beach, but now the greatest of Latin jazz is in Cuba Ocho, led by Grammy winner Carlos Averhoff.
Every Friday night, you can hear the best musician in South Florida, in the city, in this place in Cuba Ocho.
It has been a dream come true, but overall a personal satisfaction to know that I have been able to recover my country's history and show it so the whole world can see it.
We have a cultural center where all music, literature, events can happen here. And I think it's a wonderful place. We have been working very hard to have it. We have been here for 2 years already. And we are very proud of what my husband did. I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud.
You can find out more about Cuba Ocho when logging on to cubaocho.com.